Hey everyone, it's Tootsie, and today is kind of a thrown together intro. I was out running errands earlier, and my mom texted me and told me that I needed to turn in our application for a craft fair on October 16th. So I asked her when this application was due, and she said October 1st. Today is October 1st. I need something to sell at this craft fair, so why not sell my flower pots? I mentioned in the last video that I really wanted to sell the flower pots that I had painted, so I think I'm going to spend the next 16 days just making as many flower pots as I can. That way I will have an entire stock full at this craft fair. So let's get started. Okay, so I've nearly got everything painted white, but this one, while I was prepping it to paint it white, I noticed that it had a huge crack all the way through it, so I'm going to return it to Walmart before the inevitable happens and it's ultimately trashed. I also found these two smaller ones that I had from when I was starting to do these on my own, and I think I'm going to turn these into a KFC and a Starbucks cup. I know I've already done those, but I think they're going to be popular, so I'm going to go ahead and do some more. Hey everyone, it's day 6. I've got a majority of the sketches done for all of the pots. For some of them, like my main event pots, I've decided to do the monster cereal, Frankenberry, Boo Berry, and Count Chocula. I just finished the last sketch, so why don't I show you that now? When Mom told me about the craft fair, not only was I concerned that I didn't have anything to sell, but that I would only have 2 weeks to get things done. So when I got the bright idea to film the process, I knew that I would need to focus more on getting the pots done rather than filming everything correctly. With that being said, I didn't film every single pot that I made, just the ones that I really wanted to be the main draw for my booth and myself, which are the monster cereal ones. The fair is October 16th, right in the middle of spooky season, so I thought the monster cereal would be a perfect fit. With the weather getting colder and colder, you might be thinking, who the heck is buying a flower pot this close to winter? And you're right, that's ridiculous. It's just such an easy craft to make. And hey, you dingus, have you heard of Christmas? These could be gifts for someone. They'll just have to wait for spring if they really want to use real flowers. Personally, I just prefer putting fake flowers in the pots, that way I don't have the responsibility of keeping something alive. I mean, you could keep anything in these. It's not like there's a law forbidding you on putting non-flower stuff in a flower pot. I'd also like to think that maybe someone saw my pots and it convinced them to start growing flowers, or at least have them as decor. You know, buy a pot and then start a hobby. Boo Berry, I think, is my favorite out of all the pots. Not my favorite monster cereal in general, but, like, the pot looks good. Frankenberry is my favorite out of the cereal, but anyway. I was actually surprised at how many people at the craft fair and on Facebook said that Count Chocula was their favorite. I've never actually had Count Chocula. One, because my dad is usually the one buying the cereal, and he doesn't like chocolate cereal. And two, because my uncle, who is also crazy about monster cereal, said that the Count wasn't very good, so I never questioned it. But after making this video and hearing those comments, I'm kinda desperate to try it. I do like chocolate cereal, and bupkiss what my uncle thinks. The only problem is that monster cereal is getting harder and harder to find. I remember last year I couldn't find a single box, and when I did, it was just Frankenberry and Boo Berry. This year is kind of the same. I found a ton of Frank and Boo, but I couldn't find the Count at all. All I could find were little Count Chocula Rice Krispie things, but I don't trust that those are even remotely close to the actual taste of the cereal. They're pretty good, though. That was day 10, and oh look! It's my birthday! I'm 21 this year, so it's time to do big girl things like sipping on a cold beverage. Count Chocula was probably the most difficult to do out of the three. I had to redraw his logo 3 times before I got it sized correctly. Not only that, but you can see how thin the brown is when it first goes on, so he needed a lot of coats. You can see I had a little change of scenery. That's because time was running out and I needed a bigger workspace in order to get things done faster. So I moved to the kitchen table where the lighting wasn't very good and I couldn't really get a good angle on the pot, so I deeply apologize for the lack of quality in this section. Once we have Count Chocula done and 2 weeks of work behind us, it's time to head off to the much anticipated craft fair. It's 3 hours until we have to pack up, and the only flower pot that I have sold is the Ghostbuster one. Dad showed up, full Ghostbuster gear. Ironically, he's not the one that bought the Ghostbuster pot. So, let's keep hoping. I want to also mention that I haven't eaten at all today. Been up since 6:30. It's about 1:15. No food, so I feel very nice. I feel very good. As the craft fair was quickly coming to an end with fewer and fewer people showing up, not eating was going to be the least of my problems. It's after the craft fair, and I only sold 2 pots. Yeah, didn't sell the ones that I made in the other video, or the ones that I spent an ungodly amount of time on to perfect. No, the afterthoughts, the ones that didn't take me any time at all, and I thought actually wouldn't sell as much as the other ones did, were the ones that actually sold. But enough about me being salty, because if these pots did sell, I wouldn't have been able to get such cool photos. I hope you enjoy.
Tears falling down at the party, saddest little baby in the room. Fears, tell me fears, don't get me started. I get a little gray hair for every scare you share. Those aren't meant to bend. No, those aren't meant to bend. Those aren't meant to bend. No, those aren't meant to bend. I hear your eyes and I see those cries. I hear those eyes and I see those cries. I can't be the only one who hears you. Tears falling down.